You could smell it from the driveway, mac and cheese baking in the oven, that golden crust forming on top, collard greens simmering with ham hocks, filling the whole house with that distinctive smell, fried chicken crackling in hot oil, perfectly seasoned and crispy, sweet potato pie cooling on the counter, cinnamon and nutmeg making your mouth water before you even saw it. Black family gatherings in the 1970s had a scent profile so specific, so rich, so filled with love and tradition, that you could walk into any black family's house during Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, or a reunion and know exactly what dishes would be on that table before you even entered the kitchen, because black family gatherings always had the same food. These weren't just meals. These were rituals. The food at black family gatherings told stories about survival, about making something extraordinary from humble ingredients, about recipes perfected over generations of black women who taught their daughters and granddaughters exactly how much seasoning, exactly how long to cook, exactly what temperature made each dish perfect. Every black family gathering had the same core dishes, and if you grew up black in the 1970s, you knew what to expect on that table. You knew who made the best version of each dish. You knew which dishes you filled your plate with first. And if you stay with me through all 12 of these soul food classics, if these dishes take you back to your grandmother's kitchen, or your auntie's dining room, or that church basement fellowship hall, hit that like button and tell me in the comments which dish was your favorite at family gatherings, because preserving these food memories is how we honor the black women who poured love into every pot and pan. Today we're documenting 12 soul food dishes that appeared at every black family gathering during the 1970s, examining why each one mattered, who typically made them, what made them special, and why this food represents so much more than just sustenance. It was love, culture, tradition, and black excellence all served on a plate. First, macaroni and cheese. At black family gatherings, it was sacred, appearing in multiple versions because different black women made their own recipes and all had to be represented on the table. Mac and cheese in black families wasn't the box version, wasn't Kraft with powder, wasn't anything simple or quick. Black women made baked mac and cheese from scratch, boiling elbow macaroni until perfectly al dente, creating a cheese sauce from real cheese, usually a combination of sharp cheddar and Velveeta for that perfect creamy texture, adding eggs to bind it and seasoning with salt, pepper, and sometimes a touch of mustard powder. They layered it in baking dishes, topping it with more cheese, sometimes breadcrumbs, and baked it until the top formed that golden brown crust that black children fought over. Every black family had the person whose mac and cheese was legendary. Maybe it was grandmother who added 5 different cheeses. Maybe it was an auntie who put in a secret ingredient nobody could identify. Maybe it was the cousin who made it extra creamy or extra baked. The texture of proper black family mac and cheese was specific, not too dry, not too wet, not too soft, not too firm. The cheese sauce coated every piece of pasta. The top layer had some crunch, and the inside was pure creamy comfort. Black women guarded their mac and cheese recipes like family secrets, and debates about whose was best could get serious at family gatherings. The mac and cheese at black family tables represented comfort, represented home, represented the kind of cooking that took time and skill and love, the kind of food you couldn't get anywhere else. Second, collard greens. They appeared at every black family gathering, cooked low and slow for hours until tender, seasoned with smoked meat and spices that made them rich and flavorful. Collard greens in black families were serious business, requiring preparation that started the night before, when the greens had to be thoroughly washed, sometimes soaking them to get all the grit out, washing leaf by leaf, making sure every bit of dirt was gone. Black women cooked collards with ham hocks, turkey necks, smoked turkey, or salt pork, adding onions, garlic, sometimes vinegar or hot sauce, letting them simmer for hours until the greens were tender and the pot liquor, that flavorful broth at the bottom, was rich and delicious. The smell of collard greens cooking filled black households for hours before family gatherings. That distinctive smell that said soul food was being prepared. Black families ate collards with cornbread to soak up that pot liquor, and the liquid was so good that some people drank it straight. Collard greens at black family gatherings represented a connection to Southern roots, to agricultural heritage, to foods that enslaved Africans were given and transformed into delicious cuisine, to vegetables that were affordable and nutritious and could feed large families. The greens on black family tables were love expressed through hours of careful cooking, through seasoning passed down through generations, through knowledge of exactly when greens were done perfectly. Third, fried chicken at black family gatherings. This was an art form, golden and crispy on the outside, juicy and flavorful on the inside, seasoned so well that every bite was perfect. Like women fried chicken in cast iron skillets or deep fryers, using techniques perfected over lifetimes of practice. The chicken was seasoned hours before frying with salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and sometimes other spices that varied by family, the seasoning penetrating the meat while it sat. The coating varied too. Some black families used flour, some used flour with cornmeal. Some had special coating recipes with multiple spices mixed in. The frying temperature had to be exactly right, hot enough to create the crispy coating, but not so hot it burned before the inside cooked through. Black women knew when chicken was done by look, by sound, by an instinct developed through years of frying. The fried chicken at black family gatherings came out on huge platters, pieces piled high, everyone knowing which pieces they wanted. With debates about who got the last wing or the best thigh, the chicken was usually fried the day of the gathering, sometimes early morning, sometimes the night before and reheated, but always made fresh for the occasion because fried chicken was too important to cut corners on. That first bite of fried chicken at a black family gathering, the crunch of the coating, the juice of the meat, the perfect seasoning, that was what home tasted like. At just about every black family gathering, you'd find a sweet potato pie, rich and spiced, sometimes crowned with meringue or whipped cream. It's a symbol of black culinary tradition and our southern heritage. Now, let's get one thing straight. Sweet potato pie is not pumpkin pie. And if you even suggested pumpkin pie as a substitute, oh, you get some serious side-eye. Black women have perfected the art of making these pies. They start with fresh sweet potatoes, boiling or baking them until they're tender. Then comes the peeling and mashing, creating a smooth base. This is mixed with eggs, milk, butter, sugar, and a blend of spices like cinnamon and nutmeg. Sometimes a splash of vanilla is added for that extra warmth. The goal is a filling that's silky smooth, incredibly rich, and spiced just right. The crust, well, that could be store-bought or homemade, depending on who's in the kitchen and how much time they have. But that glorious filling, it was always from scratch. The pies are baked until they're set, but still have a creamy, luscious texture, not too firm, not too runny. They come out of the oven golden on top, and the aroma of the spices fills the entire house. Some families take it a step further, topping their pies with beautiful peaks of toasted meringue. Others prefer a simple dollop of whipped cream. And some, the purists, serve it plain, letting the pure, sweet flavor of the potato shine through. As kids, many of us got that little sneak taste of the raw filling before it went into the oven. Let me tell you, that was a treat almost as good as the finished pie itself. That sweet potato pie on the table wasn't just dessert. It was a display of excellence, a taste of recipes passed down through generations. It represented a kind of baking skill that can't just be read from a book. It's learned, practiced, and perfected over time. Now, let's talk about another essential, cornbread. At a black family gathering, cornbread is a must-have. It's served hot, slathered in butter, perfect for soaking up the pot liquor from collard greens or just enjoying with every single dish on your plate. The secret to real-deal cornbread often lies in the cast iron skillet. The batter is poured into a hot skillet shimmery with melted butter or bacon grease, and that's what creates that incredible crispy, brown crust on the bottom and sides. The batter itself is a masterpiece of simplicity: cornmeal, a bit of flour, eggs, and milk or buttermilk. And then there's the great sugar debate. Some families add a little sugar for a hint of sweetness, while others believe true cornbread should be purely savory. This is a topic of serious discussion. The texture is key. It can't be too crumbly or too dense. It needs to be moist but not soggy, with that perfect contrast between the crispy exterior and the soft, tender inside. When it's ready, it's cut into wedges right in the skillet. The steam that rises when you break a piece open is just heavenly, and butter melts into it instantly. While skillet bread is classic, some families prefer making cornbread muffins, and some make both just to keep everyone happy. Cornbread on the table represents simplicity done to perfection. It's the humble but mighty bread that complements everything else, a delicious nod to Southern tradition, and the magic of turning simple ingredients into something truly special. And you know what else you'll always find? Potato salad. The debates over whose potato salad is the best can get just as intense as the macaroni and cheese rivalries. In black families, there are certain non-negotiable requirements for potato salad. The potatoes have to be boiled just right, not so soft they turn to mush, but definitely not firm or undercooked. It's a delicate balance to get that perfect texture where they hold their shape yet are tender. The dressing is a carefully crafted mix of mayonnaise, mustard, and sweet relish, with chopped hard-boiled eggs adding richness. Some folks add celery or onions for crunch. The seasoning is where family recipes really diverge. Some like a tangier salad with more mustard, while others prefer it creamier with more mayo. A sprinkle of paprika on top is a classic finishing touch, adding color and a hint of flavor. The potatoes are diced, mixed with all the other goodies, and then chilled. This step is crucial. It lets all the flavors meld together into something beautiful. Potato salad is served cold, making it a staple for summer gatherings, picnics, and family reunions. It's one of those dishes everyone has a strong opinion on. Family members will lovingly compare their version to others. And let's be honest, if you bring us a part potato salad to the cookout, you probably won't be asked to bring it again. It's more than just a side dish. It's a taste of community, a food that travels well, feeds a crowd. It showcases a cook's true skill in balancing flavors and textures. Next up, let's talk about candied yams, or sweet potatoes as many of us call them. They show up at family gatherings baked with butter and sugar, sometimes marshmallows, until they are caramelized, sweet, and unbelievably rich. The process starts with slicing sweet potatoes and layering them in a baking dish. Then comes the magic, generous amounts of butter, brown sugar, and sometimes white sugar. Cinnamon and nutmeg are essential for warmth. Some family recipes call for a splash of orange or pineapple juice to add a little brightness. The dish is then baked until the potatoes are completely tender and the sauce has reduced into a thick, syrupy, caramelized glaze. And for that extra touch of decadence, some families top their yams with marshmallows, which get toasted in the oven to a perfect golden brown. Candied yams are intensely sweet, so much so that they feel like a dessert. But they are always served as a side dish. They provide a beautiful sweet balance to all the savory items on the plate. Kids, of course, love candied yams for their pure sweetness, but for the adults, there's an appreciation for the complex flavors and what the dish represents. It's a symbol of abundance and celebration, a beautiful transformation of simple sweet potatoes into something luxurious and special, all thanks to butter, sugar, and a little bit of time. Finally, we can't forget the dressing, or stuffing, as some call it. It's a cornerstone of holiday meals, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. In Black families, it's traditionally made with a cornbread base, seasoned with sage and other herbs, and baked to golden brown perfection. The process starts with crumbled cornbread, which is then mixed with chicken or turkey broth, sautéed onions and celery, and a signature blend of seasonings. Some recipes include extras like sausage or giblets for more flavor and texture, and eggs are used to bind everything together. It is all baked in a large pan until the top is delightfully crispy and the inside is moist and flavorful. There's always a friendly debate. Is it dressing or is it stuffing? Should it be cooked inside the bird or in a separate dish? Regardless of what you call it, the texture has to be just right, not too dry, not too wet. With those amazing crispy bits on top and a soft interior, the flavors are designed to perfectly complement the turkey or chicken it's served with. Our mothers and grandmothers would often bake the cornbread a few days in advance, letting it dry out so it could properly soak up all that flavorful broth. Making dressing is a multi-step process that takes planning and a deep understanding of cooking, knowing exactly how much liquid to add to get that perfect consistency. It's the taste of the holidays, a dish that represents love, tradition, and the art of turning simple ingredients into a meal that brings everyone together. Ninth on our list is baked ham. It was a staple at many Black family gatherings, often glazed with brown sugar and pineapple, or simply baked until perfectly tender. Ham was especially popular for Easter. Imagine these big hams, scored in a beautiful diamond pattern, sometimes studded with cloves, and coated in a glorious glaze of brown sugar, honey, mustard, and pineapple juice. This created a sweet and savory crust that was just incredible. The ham would be sliced and served warm, tender, and flavorful, with that glaze adding a beautiful shine and sweetness. Sometimes, for summer get-togethers, it was served cold, sliced thin for sandwiches or just eaten on its own. Seeing both chicken and ham on the table was a sign of abundance. It was also a practical choice. One large ham could efficiently feed a crowd, making sure everyone got their fill. 10th, we have black-eyed peas. These were essential, especially on New Year's Day for good luck. Typically, they were cooked low and slow with a ham hock or bacon and served with rice to make the classic Hoppin' John. Black women would cook the peas until they were perfectly tender, seasoning them with smoked meat, onions, and sometimes tomatoes. This dish was steeped in tradition. Eating black-eyed peas on New Year Ours was a belief passed down through generations, meant to bring prosperity for the year ahead. It was a direct connection to Southern agricultural roots and to the foods that sustained Black families through difficult times. Simple, flavorful, and deeply symbolic, black-eyed peas represented cultural practices that were both satisfying and meaningful. 11th is the beloved fruit cobbler, most famously peach cobbler. This was the go-to dessert alongside pies. It was made with fresh or canned peaches, topped with a simple dough or batter, and baked until the fruit was bubbly and the top was golden brown. It was almost always served warm, with a scoop of vanilla ice cream melting right into it. Cobblers were usually made in big pans, with the fruit bubbling up through the topping. It was a comforting, less formal dessert than a precise pie, but every bit as delicious. Cobbler represented resourcefulness, using whatever fruit was in season or on sale. It was the perfect dessert to feed a large group from a single pan, a true Southern tradition that was more forgiving in its preparation, but just as full of love. And finally, number 12, dinner rolls or biscuits. No Black family gathering was complete without them. These could be homemade yeast rolls that Black women had lovingly risen, shaped, and baked, or fresh biscuits made that morning. Sometimes, store-bought rolls were heated in the oven to get them warm and soft. They served as another bread option alongside cornbread, perfect for soaking up every last drop of gravy or sauce from the other dishes. Homemade rolls represented that extra effort, a showcase of a Black woman's baking skills and the kind of cooking that required planning ahead, whether homemade or from a store. The rolls on the table signified completeness. They were a symbol of abundance and the deep desire to make sure no one ever left the table hungry. These 12 soul food dishes that graced every Black family gathering in the 1970s were so much more than just food. They were culture, tradition, survival, creativity, and love all served up on a plate. They represented the accumulated culinary wisdom of generations of Black women. Each dish told a story. Macaroni and cheese showed how European ingredients could be transformed into pure soul food through technique and seasoning. Collard greens demonstrated the ability to turn humble vegetables into a culinary delight. Fried chicken was a testament to Black culinary mastery, a skill that was often imitated but rarely duplicated. Sweet potato pie represented the ingenuity of using what was available to create something truly special and celebratory. Every single dish on that table told a story of making something excellent from humble beginnings, of feeding families on tight budgets, of holding on to traditions despite immense hardship, and of expressing love through food in a world where words were not always enough. The food at these gatherings nourished bodies, yes, but it also fed spirits. It forged connections, maintained a vibrant culture, and passed down priceless knowledge from grandmothers to mothers to daughters. Many of these recipes weren't written down in a book. They existed in the hands and the instincts of Black women who knew just by feel how much of an ingredient to add, who could tell by look when something was perfectly cooked, and knew by taste when the seasoning was just right. This knowledge was a precious cultural treasure, a form of Black excellence expressed through the art of cooking. Black family gatherings in the 1970s centered around these foods, not just because they tasted amazing, but because eating them together was a powerful statement. It was how Black families said, "We are a family. We share this culture. We honor these traditions. We remember where we came from, and we honor those who came before us." The dinner table was more than just a place to eat. It was a sacred space where culture was preserved, traditions were upheld, love was expressed, and family was affirmed. And these 12 dishes, appearing reliably at every gathering, were the foundation of it all. They were the tastes, smells, and textures that spelled out home, family, Blackness, and love in a way nothing else ever could.